Also plays. 365, we making a place. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
All right. It is the morning show with our boy Chris Gonzalez on production and Greg. How is everybody doing this morning?
Oh, doing good.
Doing good.
Hey, y'all must be morning guys, man, or Monday morning guys. I never saw a good Monday morning in the military, but those are always the days you come back hungover from the weekend and you're just praying to God Monday goes fast. But all right, man. Hey, listen, lots of things going on, right? Lots of things going on. Texans, if I guess they're possibly going to hire Lovie Smith, or at least that seems to be the rumor right now. And of course, is that a step in the right direction given, all of the other hires that have gone on and the lack of minority hirings being done? So that is the question going on right now. Is Lovie Smith for show, or is he a legitimate choice for the job? My opinion is, and Greg brought it to my attention, which is true. He does have a Super Bowl on his or a Super Bowl appearance on his resume with Greg Grossman. So, but I think, in my opinion, Dan, like I was telling earlier, Dan Cullen was doing a hell of a good job. To let him go, to just bring in Lovie Smith, who is, I don't know if he's that much better in terms of the culture change that Dan Cullen was starting to bring there. In my opinion, like I said earlier, I think they brought in Brian Flores for an interview. Brian Flores has a lot of intangibles on the resume that the Texans need in terms of rebuild success, in terms of picking or draft picking success, culture change, all the things you want. The guy was presenting to the table. And not that, like I said, it's not a knock on Lucky Smith, because Lucky Smith on his resume does have a Super Bowl appearance, but I just think, a more current modern day coach who has the rebuild success of a Flores, I think that would, if they didn't make a pitch, or if they didn't make an offer to Brian Flores and they made one to Lovie Smith, it kind of makes me question why. And, why was it then when this was at the very beginning of it? And then, of course, all the traction from Brian Flores built up. And then now, are they just trying to, like I guess where we're insisting is that they're doing a PR move, trying to do some damage control and just threw Lovie Smith out there in hopes that we would all buy it and say, okay, I guess we're going in the right direction. I don't buy it. I like Lovie Smith. He's a good coach. He deserves what he gets. But I think if this was really a legitimate offer, they would have given Brian Flores the first option. That's just my opinion. We'll start with Chris, and then Greg, I want you to wrap this one up for us. Chris, what is your feelings on the Lovie Smith potential hire?
I agree with you. I think it's for show. I think if it was a serious offer, it went to Flores or one of the younger upper-coming guys, or even I think Caldwell would have got an offer before Smith if it was a legitimate offer, because Caldwell lost a job when he had a winning record there in Detroit. They just didn't for some reason like the direction he was taking the program in. But Lovie Smith, when was the last time you heard him up for a head coaching job in the NFL? It just makes it kind of fishy to me that all of a sudden it's just now's the time that you bring up Lovie Smith, where he hasn't really been mentioned for a head coaching job in the last couple seasons. You hear more about Flores. You've heard something about Caldwell. Some of the
Bieniemy's even out there still. And I think, Bieniemy just got an interview with New Orleans Saints, I believe. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that'd be a good fit.
Why didn't they bring in Bieniemy before they, had potential raid rumors out there for Lovie Smith? Why wouldn't you want all your candidates in there first, and then,
unless they reach out to Bieniemy and he said no, thank you. I don't want part of that mess over here in Houston right now.
Yeah,
and that's why he can say that, but they didn't even bring him in for an interview to even say that.
Well,
that's true. What I'm saying? Yeah. Don't you kind of got to go in there first, or at least have the option?
Yeah.
Greg, what's your thought?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, EB gets gets a job somewhere. The Saints will be good for Bieniemy, but as far as the Texans, I do think it's for show as well. Lovie Smith, like I said, he's a good coach. He went to a Super Bowl with Rex Grossman, that's very hard to do because Rex Grossman was a below average, quarterback. But I feel like Lovey should have gotten some of the jobs 2, maybe 3 years ago. But now that we're here, Jim Caldwell probably would have been a better option. Of course, Brian Flores. But I just feel like Houston is kind of covering themselves. They're kind of like, well, we did David Culley wrong. So let's go ahead and bring in Lovey. So then everybody's like, oh, okay. Well, they brought in, Lovey. So everything is, cool now. And we can, move on. And I just hate that Lovey is kind of, being used in a way for that. But, it's hopefully now, I will say, hopefully now with since the spotlight is so hot on these other teams, hopefully other black coaches can get a shot.
Right.
I know that the Dolphins were about to hire somebody. I forget his name. Mike McDaniel or something. And
I think he has been. Has he been hired? I thought he had been hired already. I thought the offer was already.
Okay. Okay.
Here's the deal, though, Greg, and let me get your opinion on this because that was actually where I was going to ask. I was actually going to ask you about the whole Miami thing. I don't understand, and maybe I missed something. Who have they even brought in minority candidates to interview for that job before they offered it to McDaniel? And listen, nothing that McDaniel's not a good coach, because I think what he's doing over in San Francisco with Garoppolo and Debo, I think he did a really good, fantastic job, honestly, with that offense. So it's not that he's not qualified, but my question is, though, did they at least interview some minority candidates before they decided on McDaniel?
Not to my knowledge, and after everything that happened with Brian Flores, I think. Minority candidates were kind of giving the Dolphins, giving them the side eye in a way.
Right.
So even if they would have offered them, I don't know if they would have felt comfortable coaching there. So, and then with the whole throwing games and all that. So Mike McDaniel is a good fit for Miami. I think he'll be, decent there, but at the same time, I feel like even if they wouldn't have got him, other minority candidates would not have felt comfortable coaching the Dolphins as of now, just because of not just how they treated Brian Flores, but the whole throwing the games for the 100,000 and all that stuff. So,
but I guess what my issue with that, though, is the same issue as with the Texans, in a sense that hey, look, he has not the Texans with Bieniemy not going to interview with the Texans. Is my issue is not that they didn't hire somebody. My issue is that they didn't send out. Did they send out the invites?
Yeah.
I mean, at least, hey, if they send out the invites and the minorities are turning it down, okay, that's one thing. It is what it is, and we'll move on. But if they're not even sending out the invites, to me, that's like, okay, now you're not only did you do Brian Flores wrong, but you're not even embracing inclusion.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going completely opposite of that.
Yeah.
So that's and if they in Miami Dolphins, if you did invite them, come out and say something about it. So we don't have and if there's candidates that turned it down, y'all should come out and say something too, just so that we don't have the wrong impression of Miami. Because right now the current impression of Miami, from my point of view, from at least what I've seen, is that they haven't brought in or didn't even send invites to minority candidates, and to me that's wrong.
Yeah, that is wrong. I haven't heard that they invited any, but yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll see how the other, openings go. The Vikings job is still open. Houston is still open. They haven't closed the deal on Lovey just yet.
I thought, see, that's another thing too, though. I thought that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw somewhere where even the the Miami had already kind of given the job to, and I don't know the guy's name. It's another white coach, but I don't remember his name right offhand. Okay. But I'm pretty sure that correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking the Minnesota job's off the table. I think the only two jobs that are left are the Texans and Saints.
Okay, well, I know the Vikings.
I've seen a graphic that even had the Texans and Saints as the only two left.
Oh, okay. Well, because I know the Vikings interviewed Harbaugh. Harbaugh said no for whatever reason, and
there was another guy they brought in. I think two right after that, and I think he's the one that they wound up offering the job to. I gotta pull that up. Wait, or even Chris, you're in the background. See if you can pull that up for us. Look on the internet real quick. Open up that second browser. I know you're new to the production side of life, but we need you to multitask this evening.
Yeah.
Hey, while he's looking that up, I just think I want to believe that Roger Goodell is going to get this right. But and I know they talked about bringing in outside parties, I guess, to stir up the conversations of equality and trying to make sure that they're doing the right thing. How do you feel about that, Greg? What do you think about the recent advancements in what Goodell is doing by bringing in a third party? Do you think that's going to be a difference maker, or do you think it's just more for PR sakes and things of that nature? Or is it both?
Both, yeah. It's a PR and it can work, but I feel like, just like we talked about last week, it should be a third party from the league sitting in these interviews. So now, when things do, go left, we can look up the person that was in there and say, "Hey, was this going on, during the interview, or did you see something that was kind of off?" So therefore, we have that other witness there.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be, he said. So I hope that they do that. Hopefully next year. But it is kind of it is a PR, because Goodell knows that the NFL doesn't look good right now. They don't look good.
Right.
And, it's Super Bowl week, and like I said last week, we talked about this. We didn't talk about Brady, retiring. We didn't talk about the Super Bowl. We were talking about Brian Flores, and so Goodell wants to shift everything back, to the field, and get off of Flores and stuff. So it is a PR thing. We'll just have to see how everything goes. Honestly.
So here's my question, Greg. Let me ask you a third question before we move on to the next topic. I guess this is my third question in reference to the NFL and the way that they're handling things and the way things are going. Do you? Because this is what I think. I want your opinion as well, in terms of what you think. In my opinion, I feel like the NFL has a very hard and a very long road ahead of itself. This is not going to be an easy thing for them to fix, and I say that because the whole process is, the narrative is out there, and everything is very, very subjective. Everything is going to be very, very, everybody's going to have their various opinions about it. And, if you make this higher, it looks a certain kind of way. If you make this higher, it looks a certain kind of way. How do we move beyond the impression that we have of the NFL and actually look at it for what it really is? Like, how do we clear up that lens? Because for me, the lens is very, very clouded. And I don't know how everybody says, or how everybody is going, and in all ethnic backgrounds, how do we get to a point where it doesn't look so subjective, and then we take it for face value that this wasn't actually good hire, regardless of whatever their skin tone may be? Because I think it's very hard for the NFL to navigate this. I don't even know how they're going to navigate it, because it's just so difficult.
It is every year now. We're always going to look and say, and whenever a minority doesn't get a coaching job, we're always going to be like, well, did that person get a fair shake? And that's how it's going to be, at least for the next couple years coming up. So like I said, there's no, I don't see how the NFL kind of gets over that cloud, either. Like I said, hopefully there are more minority coaches, next year and the year after and the year after. But it is a dark cloud that's over the league now, and I know that behind the scenes, Goodell is gonna try to make it, right, and make sure the league looks good and all that. But the only way the league can look good is if minority candidates are getting the same fair shake.
I agree.
Everybody else, yeah. So
because I think that's exactly what happened, Greg. I agree exactly what you're saying. In my opinion, you're good. You got to give the minorities some head coaching positions.
Exactly.
And then not only do you have to do that, but you have to give them a fair shake. Mm-hmm. You can't do a Dan Culley. You just can't. You can't do a Dan Culley. And that's where the Houston Texans really went wrong, and they contributed to the harm of the narrative.
Yes. Yes,
you have to give them a fair shake. You have to. I think, look, if you're going to bring in a minority candidate, you've got to say, hey, look, here's our situation. What's your plan to turn it around? And I'm going to give you 4 years. You got to give a 4-year contract and say you got 4 years to change the culture. You don't look, even if we're not winning, you have to change the culture of the team. You have to get us at least, turned around and looking like, we're being competitive. You got 4 years. You got 4 years to really get that done. And I think they had to give them an honest, fair shake. And I think that's the only way you turn it around, because once you get the minority candidates in the positions, once you get in the fair shakes, then it's going to, and then then it's going to look like, or it's going to at least change the narrative of like, okay, we are being inclusive, we are giving them a fair shake, and now we can look at it from a point of whether they're right for the job based on their skill sets versus other things.
Right. Yeah.
You got to change the narrative, man. I don't think the way the current narrative is going is going to help out the situation at all.
Yeah. And they do need that 4 years because, like I've been saying, you gave Zach Taylor, I'm guessing, I believe this is year 3 with him. Now the Bengals are in the freaking Super Bowl.
Right.
And he was 6-26 star now. I'm not criticizing the Bengals because they gave Marvin Lewis all the time in the world to try to make something happen. So I'm not saying the Bengals, didn't, do their part. But we can let Dan Culley get fired, but then we have Matt Rule in Carolina that's not doing nothing.
But the stat guy, Dustin, brought up that stat about that a while ago. He was saying, when Marvin Lewis was there, that was during the Tagliabue era.
Yeah, Tagliabue, that's right. Yeah,
you remember that? And at that point, African Americans were 33% of the NFL's job openings in the head coach.
Yeah, I think.
And then when Tagliabue left, then Roger Goodell came in, and we went from 33% down to like 2 coaches. One African American and one Hispanic.
Yeah.
So what the hell, Roger?
Right. Yeah. What happened?
Tagliabue gave you the goal. Maybe we should fire Goodell and bring back Tagliabue.
There it is.
Give Tagliabue a raise. Bring this guy back and say, hey, look, let's bring a folk. Look, here's the deal. Bring back. I got the cure. Bring back Tagliabue. Then have a focus group of how they can change the narrative of the NFL, and on that focus group, have it be 50% minority and then 50% whatever else you want to do. Right. And then that way, the focus group is made of all inclusiveness, and you have an inclusive environment now making decisions for the NFL. You've got to, but my whole point, I guess, of all of this is you have to make it an inclusive thing if you want change to happen. You can't be all of one thing and nothing of another. How does that ever invoke change?
True. That's true.
I don't know. That's just my opinion. Take it for
That's
what it
the
is.
problem with that's the
Chris,
problem.
what you got, man? You've been awfully quiet over there.
I was gone for a little while. That's the problem with the ownership, though. You have no minority ownership. So what's going to force these owners to start being more inclusive?
Which I did say that Jay-Z, Jeters of the world, LeBrons of the world. Yeah. Hey, it's time for you guys to step up and start getting the NFL and bring some minorityship. You got the money. You can come together. You can buy some of these teams. Robert F. Smith, I know you're out there trying to get the Broncos, but it's time to step up.
I think that's when you'll see the biggest change is when we get a minority owner.
You know what? The guy that owns Telemundo, he's rich as hell. Bring him over here and get him a minority-ship.
Yeah, bring it in. Yeah. Jay-Z, Kanye, all of them. Yeah.
Has Miami already hired Mike McDaniel?
Yeah, I think it's rumored. I don't know if it's official yet, but it's looking like he is the guy. Yeah. And Minnesota's already got their guy. So me and Greg were just talking about the only two positions that are really left, unless Lovey is the guy in Houston, would be the Houston Texans and the Saints. Those are the only two spots left. Now, if Bieniemy gets a job in New Orleans, I think he could do great things there.
He's gonna do great things.
He's gonna have to work with a really jacked up cap. He's gonna have to go to rebuild mode. I hate to say that, but he's gonna have to go to rebuild mode over there, man. I think their cap situation is just so rough. I think they're gonna have to figure up a lot of cap space for him to really be able to move on. But I don't know. Maybe they don't. I mean, honestly, you got Winston. If he can develop. I mean, if Winston comes back healthy, Winston was playing really good at the beginning of the season. Yeah, if he comes back and he can pick up where he left off, you never know.
Jameis, and you already got a really good defense. So
yeah,
I mean,
if Jameis can just cut down interceptions, he'll be fine.
The only thing that screwed over the Saints was Taysom Hill wasn't the answer at quarterback. And neither was Trevor Siemian. And Ian Booker, I mean, no offense, man, but damn, bro.
That's them Notre Dame quarterbacks. They never turn out good. So
well, it's hard when you're in an independent area over there, and your schedule isn't necessarily the toughest of the world. I mean, because you're picking your own schedule.
True.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the next topic here. Let me see what it was. I lost my dang screen. Okay, so our next. Oh no, come on, man. Okay, here we go. Tom Brady now officially retired. Top 5 quarterbacks now that he's gone. I'll give mine, and this is really in no specific order, but I think the top 5 that I really like right now, and like I said, no specific order, is Mahomes, obviously, clearly. Burrow, Josh Allen. I would probably see says Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Herbert, and God, I want to say Aaron Rodgers, but I just don't believe in Aaron Rodgers in the postseason. I don't care. I don't care if he has been in the league for 100 million years. He's not in the postseason. He's done. He's on the couch.
Yeah,
won Super Bowl. I want to say that Kyler Murray's upside is still really freaking good, but I'm gonna right now because Kyler Murray obviously is still learning. I'm gonna give it to Aaron Rodgers, but Kyler Murray's in the hunt.
Okay.
What do you got, Greg? Let's go reverse order this go around. Who's your top 5?
Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is number 1 for me.
And that's not even from a biased standpoint. That's Greg's true feelings.
That's my feelings. That's my feelings. Yes, he is the best. Despite the bad second half, he's still the best to me. Go ahead and put Burrow in there as well. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. And Matthew Stafford. Let's go ahead and give this man some credit.
You know what?
Let's go ahead and give him some credit, guys. Yeah. Stafford. because my thing with Stafford at the beginning of the season was, can he actually lead this team to the Super Bowl?
Right.
And it was shaky there for a little bit, but in the playoffs, he had the big throw to Cooper Kupp to beat Tampa. Came back on a really good 49ers defense in the NFC championship game. So Stafford has proven his worth now. And he's top 5 now. And definitely if he wins the Super Bowl, he's going to be top 5. So, yeah, I'll put him in there over Rodgers. Yeah.
And this is Matt Stafford's first year with the Rams, correct? Am I right?
That's his first.
Yeah. So I mean, in all honesty, people had to really be a little bit lenient with him because he's in a new team, a new system, and it takes a little while to get your feet up and running and going and getting comfortable, that and the other, forming the relationships, whatever. And man, I don't, like you said, to your point, look first year and he's in the Super Bowl. How crazy is that?
Bro. Yeah.
You got to put. You're right. You have to put some respect on Stafford's name. Matter of fact, I'm going to take back my Aaron Rodgers. Can I take it? Because you made a good point. I'm going to go Stafford. I'm going to take back Aaron Rodgers and give Stafford the respect that he deserves.
There we go.
All right, we got to do it, man. All right, hey, what we got up there? Top left, Chris Gonzalez. Who's your top 5?
Oh, Damien had David Carr in his top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Damien had Stafford, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and Carr.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, I guess if you wanted to say something about Carr, he really didn't have a whole hell of a lot to work with. And there was a lot of turmoil throughout the season with the Raiders, and he did keep them in the playoff hunt. So
he did.
I do want to give him a little bit of leeway on that last pick, but I don't know, brother.
I don't know about top 5.
That's still kind of stretching it.
Maybe 9 or 10. If we were doing top 10, I wouldn't mind Carr.
Yeah, exactly. Or even top 6. Maybe he slides in at number 6.
6, yeah.
All right, Chris, what you got, brother?
Well, I've changed mine now because Greg done talked me into Stafford. But,
hey, this is the Greg show. It's not A.S.A.P in the morning. This is Greg in the morning, man.
So mine's
we're all
basically
just getting on Greg's coattails and riding it for a champ.
Yeah, so mine's the same as your guys is now Mahomes, Herbert, Allen, Burrow, and Stafford. So I was going to have Rodgers, but he talked me into Stafford. He made a lot of good points. Plus, Stafford's completed like 78% of his passes in the playoffs.
Yep. So yeah.
He's been really efficient in the playoffs as well.
Yep. Yeah. When it's been crunch time, Stafford has made plays. I mean, he's had some luck too. The guy from San Francisco dropping a pick that would have probably won the game for the Niners. But I mean, besides that play, Stafford has been he's been great.
And there hasn't been many guys you can think of that have performed as good as he has in their first playoffs.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And I think Stafford, given what he's done this year, man, has really got to change the narrative on him. And not only does it change the narrative, but I'm thinking like, man, what could he have done his whole career had he been given a decent shot on a good team rather than just being stuck where careers go to die in Detroit? I think Detroit just kind of put, a dark cloud over him for a really long time.
Yeah, definitely. It did. Because Stafford coming out of college, I mean, everybody was saying, man, this dude is going to be really good. And personally, he was good. His stats were very good. But, the Lions being the Lions, even when they had Megatron and all that, they didn't have a defense. So I'll take Wilson. Okay, that's fine. Russell Wilson, that's cool. All right. So, but yeah, Stafford, he's always personally been good, just never had a full team. Now at the Rams, he has a full, complete team, and we're seeing how good he really is now.
And I do think that because in the chat group they were talking about Baker Mayfield, I forget what they were saying about him, but basically that he's not as bad as what people say, this, that, and the other, and that and my process was, well, look what Matt Stafford did with Odell. Why couldn't Baker
exactly.
with Odell. I think they were trying to blame ownership over it. They were trying to blame coaching over it, over the faults of the Browns. And I'm thinking, like, it wasn't that. It's Baker just did not include Odell Beckham. He did not take advantage of all of his resources. And Matt Stafford absolutely took advantage of them resources, and he accelerated with it. And people have to realize that, man. What Matt Stafford is doing is just phenomenal, man. Just phenomenal.
It is.
And think about it like this too. He makes number one wideouts. He makes them. I mean, not to say the wideout isn't also a part of it, but man, look, the single season, like I said earlier, the single season receiving record is held by Megatron. Well, who was his quarterback? Stafford.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And who came literally within 50 yards of breaking that record? Cooper Kupp. Who was his quarterback? Interestingly enough, Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you can't make this up, man. I mean, the people, like I said, Detroit did not do him any favors. It just didn't. Just like Detroit, honestly, didn't do Barry Sanders any favors.
Yeah, that's true.
By the way, hashtag, you should have freed Barry Sanders and let him go to a different team. He was freaking loyal to you guys forever.
Yes.
Still not really happy about how they treated Barry in Detroit, man. But it is what it is.
I know, because I'd love to see him somewhere else for a year or two.
Yeah. Can you imagine Barry Sanders on a team with an offensive line?
Because when he quit playing, he could still play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he could.
Oh, yeah. He chose to retire in his prime years because he was just sick and tired of Detroit.
Yep.
I mean, honestly. Real quick, before we move on into baseball, I want to talk a little bit about this Pro Bowl. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I remember, and Deion Sanders came out and said back in the day that, they were much more competitive. When people made it the Pro Bowl, they wanted to go out there and showcase their abilities, show why they were chosen to be in the Pro Bowl, things like that nature. And I caught the tail end of that game, honestly, because we had a show going on. So I caught the tail end of that game, and it was like they weren't even tackling; they were just doing walkthroughs. Mm-hmm. Like they would grab the guy, and then the play would be over with. There was no physicality, there was no nothing. And I just felt cheated. I thought that Pro Bowl was it was ridiculous, man. What is your opinions on the Pro Bowl? Was it has it now just become a sham and not really truly showcasing the talents that got them there? What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I haven't watched it for the last 2 or 3 years, to be honest with you. I quit watching it just because it's not a competitive game. You don't get some of them only play a couple snaps, and then some of them, if they do get in there, they're so afraid to get hurt that it's not a competitive game at all anymore. So I gave up on watching it a couple years ago.
Right. And I agree.
I watch the skills challenge sometimes. They're the one that comes on like on Wednesday or Thursday night, but just because that's a little fun to watch. But I really haven't watched the game in a couple of years.
And before we move on, Greg, I just want to say I kind of get the players' understanding of that because we are talking about careers, we are talking about livelihood, things like that on a game that, quite honestly, only going to pay me $40,000 if I lose or $80,000 if I win. So I do understand that, but at the same time, as a fan, I'm thinking like, damn, God, I still want to see it. Greg, what's your opinion?
Yeah, the Pro Bowl is not – football wasn't meant to just be all, nothing physical, like flag football. Like that's not how it's, that's not how it's supposed to be played. And like when the Pro Bowl was going on, I was out eating dinner, man. Like, I wasn't even like I saw the highlights. Like, that's the game that I thought it was going to be. The NFL, it has to make it to where it's more of like a spectacle, just like how basketball does their All-Star Weekend. All-Star Weekend in basketball, you got the 3-point shootout, you got the slam dunk, which slam dunk isn't as good as it used to be, but I mean, people still watch it. You got the little skills challenge thing. The NFL tried doing that this year with the 40-yard dash run and the passing skills drills and all that during the week. But remember the Pro Bowl? It was probably like 2006 or something. But when what's his name? When Sean Taylor knocked the crap out of the punter that was doing the yeah, like we don't see that no more. Like it's not like, and he knocked the crap out of that guy. And but we don't see that in a Pro Bowl now. If that happens now, then the guy is being too rough or he's being too serious about the Pro Bowl, you know. So
label him a dirty player.
Yeah, or label him dirty. Yeah. So I mean, you know, so that's part of it. The league has changed as far as, you know, not wanting players to get hurt, you know, and stuff. But can it get better? I mean, the NFL has to think of something. I mean, if you want to make it a spectacle like basketball does, have your skills challenged on that Saturday night, maybe, you know, that'll work instead of having it on I think it was on a Tuesday night that they did the skills drill. So, but other than that, or if you really just want to make it flag, then just make it flag. I mean, some people will watch it.
Yeah.
But, you know, because I'd rather do that. I'd rather you just come out and say, look, it's just going to be flag and that's what it's going to be, rather than trying to make it seem like it's an actual game.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, J.J. Watt came out and said, he goes, I've seen walkthroughs that were more intense than the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
and that's what just kills it for me is the fact that, you know, I get it, man. I get both sides of it, but man, it's like if you're gonna do that, you might as well just put put some flags on each other instead of playing tackle football. Just play flag football. I mean, if that's the level of where we're at now, you know, just have a flag football competition.
And the flag football would be more intense than what they're playing now.
Yeah,
Probably.
exactly. Yeah.
Probably. I see some torn ACLs from trying to do the spin moves.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You know, let's talk real quick. So the lockout. It's interesting where we're going with that, right? You know, the Major League Baseball wants to bring in a mediator. The players are like, hell no with mediation. We know what we are. We're not doing your mediation. This is what we want. We want, you know, more. We want more control over, you know, free agency. We want more control over length of contract, service, things like that, ageism, the whole 9 yards is all out there. And, you know, at first, you know, I thought, okay, you know, if the whole point is, can the regular season start on time given the whole mediation being turned down? And at first I was basically thinking like, yeah, you know, at first I was like, yeah, we'll get on time. You know, they're going to work this out. It's going to be the standard, you know, delay. But at the end of the day, they're going to come to terms, do an all-nighter and get this thing worked out. And we're going to start on time. Maybe spring training will be cut a little bit down, but we're going to be all right. And when I seen the mediation part come into play before the players balked at that, I was like, you know what? We're okay. They're going to bring in mediation. We're definitely going to, you know, we might lose a little spring training, but we're going to definitely get the season on point. But then when I seen the players dig their feet in the ground and say, screw your mediation, I was like, no, okay. Now, and I get it, man. They are standing firm. They know what they're worth. They know what they want. They're not going to give in. So now they're putting the ownership back on the owners as to, hey, how much revenue do you really want to lose here? But at the same time, the players are going to be losing money as well because they're not getting paid, you know, because they're not getting paid like anything else. So it's almost like a wash on that standpoint. I do think the owners are going to pay more for that than the players are because the players got their little stash of money on the side. They're okay. They're not going to be hurting unless they're just mismanaging their funds. But, you know, when I seen them dig their feet in the ground, I said to myself, yep, okay, we are now looking at possibly altering the state of the season. And I will say this. I think that the owners will give in. I do, man. I really think there's going to be some huge changes come Major League Baseball way because I don't think the owners are going to want to go too far into the season and not bring in revenue. Greg, what's your thoughts?
Yeah. I think the owners are eventually going to give in on this. They already lost money, during the pandemic in 2020. So the owners don't want to lose no more money. So will the season start on time? No, it's not going to start on time. It will be some games that are, missed, but eventually I say around May, I can see the owners being like, look, it's May. Let's just go ahead and do this so we can salvage the season. And so baseball won't start on time, sadly, but I think we will still have a season. It's just going to be short.
And Chris, I'm going to pose another question to you as well, because I want to get your opinion on both things. The first, obviously, was will the season start on time? That's the first question. And the second question would be, if they don't start on time, if the season does not start on time, how does this affect the popularity of baseball in terms of getting the fans back in the stands? Because let's be honest, when they did got the last go around, it really took a while for baseball to kind of get back its momentum. And let's be honest, in some of these stadiums, if you look around, they're not exactly filling the capacity anymore. And baseball is losing its lackluster to the more youthful generations.
Yeah.
So given all of that, number one, will the season start on time? And number two, what would be the impact to the popularity of the game if it doesn't start on time?
Yeah, I don't think the season will start on time. I think the owners will eventually end up giving in to some of the players' concessions, and they'll get started. But I agree with Greg. It'll probably be around May. They'll probably start spring training around May, maybe regular season toward the beginning of June, and do a shortened season that way. And then they'll try to add more teams to the playoffs, so like they did during the COVID year to try to make up for money. So that makes your playoffs pretty much almost a wash, because now you got teams that aren't even competitive in the playoffs.
Right.
I mean,
True.
But as far as popularity, I think it's really going to hurt the popularity of baseball, because the popularity of baseball has already been going down. And like you said, you watch the game on TV, most stadiums aren't full. I'm a big Cincinnati Reds fan. We go to games, and their game is unless they play the Cubs, it's not full capacity.
Right.
You get Reds and Cubs there, it's full capacity just because of the proximity of all the Reds and Cubs fans in that area. But other than that, you go there and it can be empty sometimes.
Right. And Greg, let me ask you a question. Because I really want to kind of get your opinion on this. What we've noticed over the years is there has been a decline in the African American community. Number one, in playing the sport of baseball, and number two, even watching the sport of baseball. Mm-hmm. So, how can Major League Baseball how can they recapture, or what can they do to recapture that demographic?
That's a good question. Well, two things. One of them I know they're not going to do, which is shorten the games to like 7 innings. They're not going to do that.
Right.
And I think they need another like black superstar, honestly.
Another Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, they need a Griffey.
Yeah, or a Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds. They need something like that. Yeah, because when Griffey was playing and Barry Bonds, even Ricky Henderson back in the day, yeah, people will watch. They will be like, man, I want to see Ricky. I want to see Griffey. I want to see
even Tony Gwynn.
Yeah, even Tony. Yes. Like
Ozzie Smith.
Yeah, Ozzie Smith. Like people wanted to see that, and now that that's not there now, it's more of your Dominican players,
right?
And that kind of, I guess, with the African American community, is more of a, well, we can't identify with anybody now,
right?
So they do. Yeah, baseball does kind of need that kind of black superstar to kind of come in. But other than those two things, I don't see how. Now, me, I will watch baseball either way because I like watching baseball. But it's not too many of us that just like watching baseball. So,
Yeah.
they do kind of need that star. I don't know where he's gonna come from, but even when Big Poppy was doing his thing with the Red Sox, it was people tuning in saying, "Hey, Big Poppy did this or did that," or but
Right.
yeah, Major League Baseball is missing that. Um, I don't know where that person is, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's kind
I
of
think baseball's got to figure, and to your point, maybe shorten it to 7 innings, something like that.
yeah,
Baseball has got to do something to reinvigorate the sport.
yeah.
Everything has to change over time. It has to change. It just can't stay the same way it was because the generations are changing.
Yes.
And so you have to change with the times in order to keep your sport relevant.
Baseball does
It is the oldest pastime, but it's also lost a lot of relevancy.
It has, yeah. And 7 innings will make the games more, tense.
Right.
You get behind after the 5th inning. It's like, all right, y'all, we only got 2 more innings. We got to do something, So
yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
It makes it a lot more important to try to get to the starter earlier in the game so you can get to the bullpen if there's only a set 7-inning game.
Right. Yeah.
Man, I remember back in the day, man, we'd go to a baseball game, and man, them baseball games, we'd get there like 7 o'clock. We wouldn't be leaving until like dang near 11. We'd get home till 1 because you got to fight all the crowd going through the parking lot.
Yep. Yep. And even what you guys were talking about with the stadiums not, selling out, here with the Royals and KC, when they were winning, the 2 years they went to the World Series, the regular season games, they were, almost sold out. People were watching because, the Royals were doing good. But normally, you get about 25,000 on like a weeknight, something like that. So it is hard for these stadiums to sell out. Because usually on the weekend, you kind of want to do something else besides watching baseball. I know whenever the Royals are playing the Yankees or Cubs or something like that, then that's when it's sold out. But if it's not those teams, then it's normally not sold out. So
yeah, absolutely. And then I guess we can move on, talk a little bit about some of this basketball. I want to ask you guys a question before we go on to Coach of the Year and who we think that should fall into. I want to talk a little quick about the Lakers, and God, I'm probably gonna. I bet phrase it works, and we probably won't see a pop in, but it's interesting to me. I was watching that New York Knicks and LA Lakers game, and of course, if you watch that, that Russell Westbrook was benched in the 4th. He had a terrible shooting performance to the point where the LA fans are booing him. So you're bad when you're getting booed by the LA fans. So they wound up benching him in the 4th, and of course they go on to win that game in a pretty good fashion. And I got to be honest with you, if the Lakers could stay healthy, and by the way, Monk is looking phenomenal. I think that is their big 3: Monk, Davis, and Braun. But if they can stay healthy, and if they bench Westbrook and keep him more on the bench than actually playing, in my opinion, this team could bounce back into contention. What is y'all's thought process on that? Chris, I'm gonna let you go, and Greg, you wrap up. What do you think about that, Chris?
I don't think the Lakers are going to be in contention this year. I think they're old. I think they went and got old. I just don't think they have enough coming off the bench. If Davis and LeBron both don't give them close to 30 a night, they have trouble staying in games.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Lakers, if they don't get bounced during the play-in games, either Phoenix or Golden State is going to knock them off. I'm looking at the stats here since you since you brought it up, Jay. Russ was 1 for 10.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, and I'm like, what in the heck? Like, I mean, he is Russell Westbrook, but he ain't never brick like that before. That was even for his standards. So, but yeah, AD and Bron have to carry this team now. Monk is doing his part, but is it going to be enough to, if you want to say, okay, can the Lakers get to the second round? No, because even with AD and Bron doing their part, I still don't think they would beat Golden State or Phoenix in a 7-game series.
You're depending on both them staying healthy too.
Yeah, and both of them staying healthy. So,
and AD has had problems with that.
Yeah, unless like THT or Melo or somebody, steps up big in a playoff series, I don't see them getting past that first round.
You know what's interesting to me though? There are a couple of analysts here at A.S.A.P. Jim Cross. I'm not trying to throw you to the bus, but I'm going to throw you out there because you are the biggest Russell Westbrook supporter. To the point where he is a diehard Russell Westbrook guy, but at some point you got to realize that Russell Westbrook is the problem, or he's a big problem.
He is the problem. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I get you don't want to be disloyal, maybe to Westbrook or whatever, but I mean, you got to look at it is for what it is. And 1 for 10 is terrible, and that's very typical of Russell Westbrook style of shooting. He's either going to give you 50% or he's going to give you 0%. In terms of shooting, so I tell you, man. Listen, I agree with you. I don't think the Lakers are gonna necessarily get to the finals round or anything like that. But I do think that their chances of winning are much better with him on the bench, or maybe even doing like a John Wall. Just Russ, just sit over in the corner. We're not even playing anymore. We'll eat your salary until we can figure out what we can do with you. And we're going to roll with what we got over here. And I think we got a better shot at winning given this.
Yeah. And I'm surprised the Lakers aren't in talks with the Sixers to trade Russ to get a Simmons.
I've been doing everything I could to trade that.
Yeah, like, I mean, as much as I've criticized Ben Simmons would work out better than Russell Westbrook, I will say. So I'm really shocked that the Lakers haven't been talking with the Sixers and trying to figure out a trade with to trade Russ to get Simmons.
I wonder go ahead. I'm sorry, Chris.
And Simmons would help the Lakers a lot defensively too.
Yes, he would. Yep, he definitely would.
I kind of wonder what LeBron is thinking right now in terms of is LeBron trying to be the boss of everything? Yeah. And that actually is in alignment with what I was about to say. Do you think Bron just like sitting back saying like, man, this looks so much better than this looks much worse than what I just thought it was going to be this, and it turned out to be that, and I'm like, damn.
It's hard for great players to be GMs. We see it with Jordan.
Yeah, it is. It's very
hard for them to be GMs. Bron, he brought in Russ thinking it was going to work. But when that trade happened, I wrote something on Facebook, and it has come true way better than what I thought it was going to be. And I said, Bron is going to figure out why Kevin Durant left Russell Westbrook.
Right.
He has found out now why.
He's got to be sitting back thinking like, this was not one of my better hours.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you think LeBron James, if the Lakers don't make a deep run in the playoffs this year, you think he ends up leaving the Lakers and going somewhere else?
I think the only way, in my opinion, that Bron goes someplace else is if when Bronny comes into the league, right, and he wants to go play with Bronny, and if the Lakers don't pick up Bronny, then whoever team picks up Bronny, I think that's where he'll wind up going. So just to get, I know he wants to play at least 1 year with his son before he hangs up his sneakers.
Yeah, definitely. Brooklyn might be a spot for him because the Kyrie situation, they're gonna have to let Kyrie go just because of the whole vaccine thing. But I can see Brown going there. But if it's not Brooklyn, then I can see him staying with the Lakers.
If he could go to New York and bring a title to New York, that'd be big for his resume as well. I think
if he
he'd
went to Brooklyn, though, he's going to have to deal with Kyrie again
before he go to the Knicks, because
Yeah.
Brooklyn's less of a rebuild.
Yeah, Brooklyn. Yeah, if he's gonna go somewhere, it will be Brooklyn. He'll play with KD, and I guess Harden would still be there, and then Kyrie Irving will be, somewhere else. But I could see that working out. But if he doesn't go to Brooklyn, I could see him staying with the Lakers and trying to figure out something there.
If he goes with Brooklyn, they're going to have some seriously deep pockets.
Yeah, they're going to have some. Yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to be over the luxury tax or whatever that thing is. They're going to have to eat.
Oh yeah,
that
they'll be paying extra.
Yeah,
sure.
And I don't think Kyrie would be in Brooklyn if Braun goes there. I don't know how that would work.
No, he would.
Is in Cleveland? Look what happened with
J.R. Smith, the guy that didn't know time and score in the NBA Finals.
Well, it is what it is. I guess we'll have to wait and see what the future holds. I think this year we're going to see Braun on the couch at some point in the playoffs. I mean, like you said, I think this is just Phoenix Suns and Golden State. I think this is their time to battle it out in the West, and it's going to be. I tell you, man, it's going to be one hell of a showdown. It's going to be very interesting to see how especially if Phoenix could somehow pull off a Sabonis trade. I mean, damn.
Oh, yeah.
If they pull off a Sabonis trade and don't give up too much of their team, like maybe they give up Cam Jordan and a couple of picks, whatever, for Sabonis, I would take that in a heartbeat. And I think that really just further cements Phoenix as the team to beat.
I hate to say this because I'm a Pacer fan. I don't want Sabonis to leave, but yeah, Sabonis would help them a lot.
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah.
Like you team him up with Ayton and McGee, and you got one hell of a, you got definitely enough size and enough rebounding strength to really, have it on not only on your starting rotation, but then you also are going to have it on your reserve rotation or your number 2 unit. So I mean, you're talking about constantly having some sort of size in there, and also gives your guys a break to rest and have another big man in there that can carry the load. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, if Sabonis does go to the Suns, it would make them the favorite, and that conference final would be the NBA Finals, man. That would be awesome. That would be awesome, man. The only way I could see Golden State pulling that out is, of course, Steph and Clay have to do their thing, but Wiggins would have to be that third scorer. If Wiggins can be that third scorer in that series, then Golden State will, have a chance. But if he's off, then Phoenix is going to win that series.
Milwaukee kind of lost a little bit of their toughness when they traded PJ Tucker to the Miami Heat.
Yes.
They lost a pretty good chunk of defense, and they also kind of lost some of their grittiness when they let go of Tucker, because I think that's what really Tucker brought to that team. How do you think without Tucker being there now? How is I mean, obviously you have Giannis. Nobody's discounting or looking past Giannis, but does the Phoenix Suns, if they get to the finals and play in Milwaukee, because I think Milwaukee is going to be the team, in my opinion, that comes out of the East. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be them. How do they match up against the Milwaukee Bucks? Do you think the Bucks repeat as champions, or do you think it will be a little bit more even as to who could possibly pull out the finals win?
I think the winner is going to come out of the West this year. Excuse me. I think it's either going to be the Suns or the Warriors. I think the Suns could beat the Bucks this year in the finals.
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The Suns would have learned their lesson from last year, which is make Giannis a jump shooter and stop letting him go to the rim. So that's what killed them last year, and
Right.
Giannis put up 50 on them in that game 6. So
especially if
I,
they get the bonus because you got more rim
yeah,
protection.
exactly. So I think if it is Suns Bucks for the second straight year, the Suns would have learned from last season, and they would win that final.
And Aiton is going to have a bigger, huger role going against Milwaukee than the rest of them. I mean, he's going to have a big game against Giannis. That's a tall task.
Yeah.
That's a tall task.
Aiden's going to have to at least score 15, 20 in that series. Yeah.
All right, we're going to shift it over to Coach of the Year. And I think for me, it's not even close, man. It's not even close, man. I think Taylor Jenkins out of Memphis is just what he is for the culture that he is building in Memphis. It's just phenomenal, and he's definitely putting them in the conversation of battling it out for the West crown. So, Chris, what's your thought process? Who do you have as your Coach of the Year?
I agree with you. I have Taylor Jenkins. Has Memphis up in the third spot in the West right now. Nobody at the beginning of the season would have expected Memphis to be this high up in the West. I mean, yeah, they were getting better, but they're looking like they're going to be playoff contenders that could make a deep run. And if John Morant gets hot, they can play with anybody. But with what he's accomplished in just the short amount of time he's been in Memphis, I think he's the Coach of the Year this season.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with JB Bickerstaff for Cleveland.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
That is a good one. That is a good one.
No one expected Cleveland to do anything this year, and they're the 4 seed as of right now. They're 1 game back of the Heat for that number 1 seed. That is crazy to think that Cleveland could possibly be a 1 or a 2 seed when this thing is all said and done. JB Bickerstaff, a tremendous job there at Cleveland.
All right, hey Rob, glad to see you joined us, man. We had a good quarter of cents here, but now with your extra 2 cents, we're up to a dime piece. So we're doing good now, man. We appreciate you.
What's up, y'all, man? I caught a little bit of the conversation. Man, Cleveland getting Karis LeVert is big.
Oh, we haven't even got there yet. Hey, hold on. Hey, put a pin in that one because that was my next comment, and I'll let you lead that conversation off. So hold on a minute. Hold on to the Karis LeVert question. Hey, let's go. Let's stay with the current one. The current one is, who is your Coach of the Year? Are you going to go with Bernie Bickerstaff, or you think Taylor Jenkins? Who you got?
Honestly, I'm biased. I got to go Coach Billy Donovan. I mean, what the Bulls have been able to do, I think honestly they're one of the teams that experienced the most injury problems. Back when COVID was a thing, they had a lot of people out with COVID. So I honestly, for them to still be in that upper echelon in the Eastern Conference, I believe they're still first place right now if the 76ers got them. So I believe Billy Donovan, man, what he's been able to do with this team, with the real life next man up mentality, seeing the improvement of Io. If you guys look at Io right now, man, he's playing better than some of the top-notch league guys, at the point guard position. Seeing, the elevation of DeMar DeRozan as a top-tier superstar. Seeing Zach LaVine, they got that 1A, 1B thing going. And then also Vucevic starting to wake up. We finally have a legitimate 2 all-stars in the all-star game. So I got to go with Coach Billy Donovan, man. Shout out to the Bulls.
Hey, by the way, the Bulls are a facade. I'm calling it right now. They're just temporarily in the first spot. It's going to be Milwaukee. But, hey, listen, I'm not trying to rain on the Chicago Bulls parade. I mean, hey, listen, man, you guys haven't had this kind of a hype since Jordan was there. So I get it, man. Hey, listen, but I don't want you – I'm worried for you, Rob. I'm kind of worried for you, man, because I've seen this. I get like this too about my Dallas Cowboys only to be hurt in the end, and I don't want you to feel hurt when reality sinks in on you, man. And I'm concerned for you.
I'm a realist. Right now the Bulls are playing great. I have to agree with Charles Barkley when he said that despite the record, Milwaukee is the best team in the Eastern Conference. We know that. They have the best player. I mean, Giannis is borderline unstoppable. Where I stopped at, though, you can't overlook Philly. Right now, and things are subject to change. We know Joel Embiid can get injured. He can get sick. He's known for doing that. But right now, Embiid is playing like a man possessed.
He's playing ridiculous. He really is playing ridiculous.
He just put on us.
Yeah.
He beat up on Chicago. I felt bad for my dude to stop that 7-foot monster. I mean, Joel Embiid, now, the season ended today. In my personal opinion, Embiid is the MVP.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, Joel Embiid seems to be getting better and better as the year goes along. So, he's another guy you could say, well, what is his ceiling? I mean, how much better is he going to continue to get considering like you said, the monstrous games and I think he's averaging 35, 36 points a game, somewhere in that neighborhood. So, I mean, he's playing lights out and given, the talent that he has with him or lack thereof in some cases even.
Well, honestly, if you look at that 76ers squad, they're not the worst thing you can have. You have a Seth Curry who can hit open jumpers. Danny Green, say what you want. We know he has a very hot and cold streak, but he still can play a little bit of defense. You got Maxey, who's turning into a nice little great young player. You still got Tobias Harris, even though I think he's lost some of his game. I think a lot of that is due to him subconsciously telling himself, I have to feed the big man. So, I'm
really saying that, though, Rob, to support the narrative that's out there is that Embiid is carrying the team on his back. So when I say he's carrying the team on his back, that means he doesn't have as much talent as some of the other guys have out there. I mean, but I do think he has talent. But but the narrative for MVP is that he doesn't have as much, or he's trying to put the team on his back.
No, I think they're just salty about the Ben Simmons thing. But they're winning in spite of Ben Simmons. And I honestly think a lot of people don't want to hear this. Ben Simmons is a great player, and I think he'll fit in great wherever he goes. But with him and Joel Embiid, him not being there is actually a blessing for him.
It really is.
Because now there's more space for him to operate.
Yep.
Like LA is better off without Westbrook, like we were saying earlier.
Oh my God! I feel so bad for Westbrook, honestly, because Westbrook is he's a true player. Like, he's gonna give you everything he got. Like, I don't believe Westbrook comes out there and say, tonight I'm gonna call it in early. But when you get booed by the Los Angeles Lakers fans, like, they are booing you. Like, I've never heard fans be like, no. Like, when you went to go shoot the three, they screamed out, no. Like, it's bad. Like, I couldn't even suit up for that organization anymore if I was Westbrook. Like, you clearly lost the fans. They don't like you. And we already know how they feel about LeBron. They're like, yeah, we appreciate you for coming, but you're no Kobe. LA fans are tough.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, when they were booing him, I was like, dang,
man. I felt so bad for Westbrook because it's just like I said, if doing too much had a picture of an NBA player, it'll be Russell Westbrook's picture there. Like, sometimes he needs to get out the way. Just get out the way. Why are you shooting 3-point shots and you can't shoot?
Right. Yep. Exactly. Hey, Russ, sometimes you just got to facilitate. Just be the facilitator. Get your assists. Work on your assists and not worry so much about your lack of field goal shooting.
Or get to the rim.
Like, it's bad. When you get booed by your fans, it's bad.
Yeah, get to the rim. Quit shooting that three.
Yeah, quit shooting the three.
And he's even missing shots that he normally hit. Like, we understand age it catches up with players. He's not the same Westbrook from OKC, but it's like, dude, like you can't go 1 for 10, bro. You cannot do that. Like I could have went out there and gave you at least 3 shots. You know how many open jumpers you gonna get with LeBron and AD on the floor? Like, dude, like you gotta. I don't know, man. Westbrook. I think I heard you say this earlier, Jay. In LeBron's head, he was like, "Man, I thought that would have went better than what it's going like right now."
It's like, damn. hey, but I want to go back to your point about LeVert, man, and Cleveland. I mean, that team, when they brought in LeVert and gave up Rubio, which, by the way, if y'all don't know, Rubio is torn ACL, so they really they banked out big time getting LeVert for a guy who has a torn ACL given up. So, and LeVert I think he's gonna just make that team nasty.
Oh, LeVert a dog. LeVert is a dog. I still don't know why. I understand why Brooklyn had to get rid of him, but I would have tried everything in my power. If I know I'm getting a Kyrie and a James, let's try to keep LeVert. You know, you never know. And he's leaving that sinking Indiana ship. You know, Indiana is going nowhere fast. Now you go to a young Cleveland super team, a young super team, I like to call him, because Garland, he has arrived. Garland has arrived. Once you make that All-Star game, you have arrived. You know, and Kevin Love out there, you know, getting mad that Jared Allen didn't get an All-Star selection, you know. So now you got even your vets, you know, because Kevin Love looked like he had 1 foot out the door. Now even he's invested into this Cleveland team. Like,
oh yeah, that culture changed.
You boys can play, and then you bring in a dog like LeVert. Watch out for Cleveland in the playoffs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they might snake up and snap you.
Hey, they 4th place right now. I did a segment on my show about Cleveland. Like, hey, you gotta. They got some young boys on here. They athletic. They have confidence. They're not afraid of the big shots. And we know LeVert's confidence. Karis LeVert confidence is through the roof. He think he won the pass. So, and that's the mentality you have to have. You know, trying to lead a team. And I don't think he necessarily has to come in and lead. He just has to fall in line. That's it.
Yeah, he just has to play his part. He don't have to put the team on his back. He just got to play his part.
That's it. That's easy. You telling me just come in and get buckets? Okay.
Yeah, I can do that. No problem.
That's it.
No problem. Hey, real quick. So obviously you saw where the Nets rebuffed the 76ers' interest in Harden. So Daryl Morey is not going to get Harden 2.0. So now he's going to have to figure out what he's still going to do with Ben Simmons. And I think, and I'm pretty sure like you guys are thinking that Big Ben is going to still 2.0 is going to be there probably, you know, in the next year when free agency or when they, you know, when they can do it or something. But he's definitely not, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think the deadline is the February 10th, and we are now at February 7th, I believe it is. So we got 3 more days left of trade.
Yeah.
I don't think he goes anywhere. I think he's stuck. I think his best option, if he was going to be with Sacramento. And when he passed up on the Sacramento thing, I think that just kind of ended it for at least for this year.
Yeah, he's stuck. He's stuck. And he's losing money. Like I remember we were talking, you guys were mentioning mental health. But now I read an article, he's getting fined, and they're sending him those bills of how much money he's losing out on. I think this is a bad situation for Ben, not necessarily for the 76ers, as we just mentioned. They're still winning, and they're still one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. So whatever Ben had in his mind is backfiring because they don't really need you. You know,
I'll tell you one thing, though. Ben must have a hell amount of money. Because I don't know about you guys. Hey, watch this. If I'm losing $19 million out of the $31 million for this year, hey, bro. Hey, I'm crying.
Hey, I'm mad at
seriously. Like I would be having to call the 1-800 number, get help, because I'm sorry, I'm down the suicide awareness line, or I'm gonna be there at camp saying, "Hey, look, okay, enough's enough. Put me in, coach."
Hey Jay, you hear me? I'm mad if I lose $19 right now.
I know.
I can't imagine. I just stuck in the game. But as I mentioned, I was on the one of the basketball shows that's on this network, and Doc Rivers has to go. Doc Rivers has to go. I could never forgive him as a person who has respect for coaches for throwing your player under the bus. He shouldn't have did that, and I understand he's trying to retract on those statements and things like that. But if I'm a player on the 76ers and we don't win, I'm like, am I next? Are you going to throw me under the bus? So I can understand Ben Simmons feeling like I just can't play for this guy. But dude, 19 million is 19 million. Suck it up. Man up.
What could you do with 19 million?
That's a lot.
Is a Simmons
that's a lot of cheddar cheese. 19 million. Well, I tell you, hey, but you know what though? Hey, listen, man. I'm speaking from a guy who, like you said, man, I'm crying over $19. I just for me, that kind of money is just incomprehensible to even fathom. But hey, that's that rich people's problems, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's crying in the beans. You know what they say? Money doesn't solve everything, but hey, I'd rather cry in the beans than in a hoopty.
Well.
Hey, real quick. So it is official now, though. So the McDaniel hire by Miami is official. So he's definitely off the board. Or they're off the board, I should say. So now that leaves pretty much. I guess Lovie Smith is in discussions with the Texans. So that's kind of up in the air as whether or not it's not official yet. So now I'm thinking like, so what's up with Byron Leftwich? Does he just go back? I guess he's just going to go back and that's another thing. Okay, why are the Texans bringing Byron Leftwich? Why did they bring him in for an interview?
Yeah.
We were talking about that earlier. I don't mean to go back, but I think about Byron Leftwich was out there. There's a lot of they brought in Caldwell, even the Texans did, and I thought that would have been a good hire given what he did with Detroit.
Yeah,
Caldwell. Yeah, that would have been good. Jaguars, even though they got Dougie P, I felt like they did Leftwich wrong because all Leftwich wanted was, hey, can we get a new GM in here? I don't want Trent Baalke. And Jacksonville picked Trent Baalke over Byron Leftwich would make no sense to me because he's not that good of a GM. So why not bring in somebody else? Right.
Yeah,
that can do better than him. So I feel like Jacksonville kind of missed out. I'm not saying that Doug Peterson isn't going to do good, but I just felt like they kind of botched that because if you're bringing in a coach, the coach is going to want his own, GM in there. And it wasn't like Trent. It wasn't like Trent Baalke was, setting the league on fire. So
no, right. And in all honesty, and I guess at first I was kind of on the fence how I felt about a coach, telling a GM, "Hey, I don't want you," or like I guess him having the power over it. Mm-hmm. I didn't quite understand, but I guess I look back on it now, or I look from a different perspective now, and I can understand that because one thing we do know that Jacksonville, especially after the Urban Meyer debacle, was they needed a new culture change. And the culture has to come from the top down. Now, unless you force Shad Khan to sell the team, which that's not going to happen, you're pretty much stuck with the owner. So the only thing you can really do is work from the GM down and try to, have your GM instill the culture and then work with the coach. So, yeah, I kind of get that. I guess, if you're going to go after a Byron Leftwich or go after a coach in general, you want that culture to respect that. And so you want those guys to be able to work together. And if you're butting heads right out the get-go, there's no way you're making culture change.
All right. Exactly.
And culture clashing.
Yep. Yeah. Culture clashing. Yeah.
So we'll see. Your GM and your head coach have to be on the same page. That's the thing that happened with the Colts a few years ago with Pagano and that I can't think of his name now. Got the GM before they hired Ballard. The guy came from Philadelphia, but the head coach and team couldn't get along, and then it destroyed our team.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's only 6 GMs in the NFL that are black. Only 6.
Yep, only 6.
So at what point are we saying, hey, we need to revamp, inclusion in the GM realm to get some more African American or even just minority in general GMs out there? I mean, because that's obviously would affect the culture of the head coaching hires as well.
Yeah,
yes and no, because you see the Bears just hired the black guy from the Chiefs, and
Ron and Poles.
And he bought in somebody. I'm like, who is this dude? Like
Eberflus. I can't even say his name right. Eberflus or something.
You know what?
Eberflus. Yeah.
I'm done with the Bears. Like I'm done with the Bears. Like,
and that was because, and it's good that you said that, Rob, because Andy Reid told Ryan Poles when he got the job, make sure you interview Eric Bieniemy.
Give Bieniemy a chance.
And he still didn't do it. Exactly. Still didn't do it.
And it's
but
like,
that makes me wonder, do you think that possibly he didn't believe in Bieniemy? Even though Andy Reid is endorsing him, maybe he himself just did not believe in him or something.
No. It's like Shannon Sharp said. For some reason, our people feel like we have to monitor how many of our people that we hire. We don't want to make it look like, oh, you hire him because he's black.
True. Yeah.
But, our Caucasian brothers and sisters don't care about that. It's like, hey, I don't care if he's white, yellow, green. If I think this dude deserves a job, he's going to get the job. So you might look up and you might have a coaching staff full of Caucasian people. Yet black people would be like, well, I already hired this person, they're black, and I hired this person, they're black. Maybe I should make the head coach white. And it sucks that it's like that we have to, because we in fear of our jobs. Like, well, maybe they'll fire me if I hire too many black people.
I'm glad you said that, Rob, because let me ask you this, Rob, based on what you're saying. I already asked Greg about this. Let me get your position. So how does the NFL change the narrative? Because everything, like you said, everything you're saying is based on subjectiveness.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on people's opinions, based on all these things out there. So what possibly can, I mean, obviously the NFL is bringing in outside sources to give them a more unbiased opinion, but what can the NFL itself, what can the owners do to change the narrative of all of this, and not because of the subjectivity?
I mean, right now, honestly, if you really want to send a message, you're gonna have to stop messing with people's money. Like, you're gonna have to mess with people's pockets. Like, you're gonna have to give fines for, the same way you give incentives for hiring black people, you should give fines for not, because now you're just interviewing people just to fill a quota. And it's no longer just a subjective thing. It's obvious. Like, you can see it. Like, Poles, he came from Kansas City. He's seen what Eric Bieniemy has done with the culture on the offensive side of that ball, the development of Patrick Mahomes. He's seen it. And you know that the Bears have a Justin Fields, who's a quarterback who also likes to be mobile, use his legs. Could you imagine what Eric Bieniemy could have came up with for Fields? To the point where even Coach Andy Reid is in interviews saying, I don't call the plays. He does. Like,
the Bears really screwed the pooch on that hire.
Spotlight on Eric Bieniemy, and nobody is even batting an eye at this guy. You know what I mean? But then you get somebody like who the Bears just hired, Eberflus, or whatever his name is, and you like, where did this dude come from? Mm-hmm. And I think he was the defensive coordinator of the Colts. Yeah. And I'm like, is this the same coach that just lost to Jacksonville that couldn't even get into the playoffs on the last game of the season? That's the dude you hired? Yeah. It's like, man, let's be real. Let's be real. Yeah. So it's just sad. It's sad that, but I mentioned this back in the day. If you look at the NFL, they've always been like that. Look at, now we finally see the rise of the black quarterback. But back in the day, that wasn't the case. They didn't feel like a black person could lead his team in that way. You're good at running and jumping. Be a receiver. Be a running back. But a quarterback, that takes too much mental power. We don't think you're capable of that. You know, it's always been like that in the NFL. It's just always been a sad history of blatant racial discrimination.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, I hate to say it, but I think it's time. And this is my opinion, man. But I think based on all the things that have gone on during Robert Goodell's tenure, after we let go of after Tagliabue ended his tenure, I think it's time for. I think it's time for Roger Goodell to be done.
I agree.
I think we need. I think to really affect change, we need to start from the absolute highest position in the NFL, and we need to we need to revamp. They need an outside party that's not owner connected to start interviewing possible candidates and let that outside entity make that hire and then go from there.
That's one of the reasons I love the NBA, and that's because the commissioners do not succumb to the wheels of the owners. It's like, okay, we understand we work for you, but at the same time, this is a partnership. You know what I mean? This is your hard-earned money and purchasing a team is to play in our league. So it's a partnership, and that's one of the reasons I love Adam Silver. One of the reasons I love, may he rest in peace, David Stern. Sometimes you got to make some hard decisions, and sometimes decisions will be questionable. But look at the respect that the commissioners of the NBA get as opposed to Roger Goodell.
Right.
When he shows up on draft day or any type of public appearance, they will boo him. Like, they would flat out let him know, we don't rock with you, dude.
Yeah. All right. Right.
And you should be loved. You're the commissioner of America's favorite sport.
Yeah. And I can answer Damien's question there. After losing the 21-3 lead, it could be a black eye for Eric getting a job. I felt like everybody got outcoached in that second half. EB, Andy Reid, Spags, everybody did. So does it hurt the enemy's chances? That happening, the 21-3 lead getting blown, and then what happened in the Super Bowl? Yes, it could, but just like Rob said, we had the defensive coordinator for the Colts get a job, and he couldn't stop the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it's like, so which one? Hey, I lost to Joe Burrow. Okay, you lost to Joe Burrow. Oh, I lost to Jacksonville. I just want EB to get a shot, man. Let's just see. If it doesn't work, Yeah. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work.
He gets with the Saints. I think that'd be a great fit.
Saints would be perfect. Will be perfect for him. Yes.
I mean, but even in that same breath, Mike McCarthy got a job, and he only won one Super Bowl ring with the Packers.
Yeah.
You got the greatest regular season, at least quarterback on your roster, and every time you look up, they're losing in the playoffs.
In Houston, you're hearing McCown's name. Where the hell? How did McCown get in the damn conversation all of a sudden?
It's like it's like you refuse to hire any black people. Like, they just be looking like, hey, you want to be a head coach?
Right, getting people from Indeed or something to get these coaching jobs. Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
Really? I remember when he was a backup quarterback for us. Like, come on, dude.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. Like, it's getting ridiculous. And honestly, if they really want to, make a difference, I think it's time for the black players to stand up. Stand up. Like, stop taking it. I understand that it's hard to pass up on millions of dollars, but you're never gonna get a chance if you don't stand up. You gotta stand up for what you believe in. And I don't believe it's enough for us to stand together.
Yeah, that's true. Because in basketball, this doesn't happen because NBA players do speak up and they do stand up.
Mm-hmm.
and they say, "Hey, this isn't going to happen over here." Whereas NFL players would kind of just be like, I don't want to get in it. Let me just get my coins, you know what I'm saying, and just be quiet and not say nothing. So, yeah, they need to be like, like the basketball players and start speaking out.
Yeah, when that coach from the Clippers, I mean, not the coach, the owner, what was his name?
Sterling.
Daniel,
Donald Sterling. Yeah.
The moment that came out, first of all, you mentioned Magic Johnson's name. Like, that's NBA royalty. Like, that's a no-no. And then, the comments you're making, talking to a woman of color who's your young girlfriend, telling her you don't want her around any of these monkeys and all this stuff. It's like, dude, man, they stood up so quick against that dude.
They sure
like,
did.
even his own players. Like, Chris Paul and them was like, we don't want to play for this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what you have to do. You have to stand up for what you believe in.
Oh, yeah,
They got him up out of that. Adam Silver was quick, decisive. That's what you need.
Yep. And that's why I feel Dolphins players and Browns players should do, since their owners want to pay for throwing games.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not playing no more, because we're not going to play for an owner that wants to pay people to throw games. No.
And that's crazy. Like, that is so serious of a crime. And then I feel like they're just sweeping that under the rug. Like, you're throwing games. Like, that's not cool. Like, so everybody's conspiracy theories are proven to be true. You're throwing games. That should be a federal crime.
They should be out. They should lose their ownership.
Yep, banned.
Hey, and correct me on this, but what is up with the whole Brown situation? Why did I kind of have an issue with that? Because Hugh Jackson came out and was kind of hinting that they were paying, but then he reversed course, and I don't know. I have an issue with the Hugh Jackson one. That's the only one I have really an issue with, because I feel like he didn't stand by the narrative in which he first came out with. It's like he took it back, or he had a reverse course on it, and I don't understand that one.
Because they probably threatened to take his current job away. The NFL and the college teams got partnerships. It's one big neighborhood, it's one big community. So you threatening the dignity and integrity of the NFL game. We don't want you as a coach here. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. And this is the reason why a lot of people stay silent. They don't want to lose their jobs. They don't want to, what Coach Brian Flores did is it takes a true act of courage, because that's your livelihood. And he knows it's like a cop snitching on another cop. They will never look at you the same.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's true.
He might never get another chance at a coaching job.
No, not on a professional level. Because now, like I said, you're messing with the integrity of the game. You're mentioning people like John Elway, who's NFL royalty. You're coming at owners. These people are worth billions and billions of dollars. And let's say they did offer you $100,000 to throw a game. That just shows you how much power they have. That's more than what people make in a year. You telling me if I throw 9 games, I could possibly come up on $900,000?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. No, that's right.
That's real. Yeah. And you know what? And what Elway did too, coming to the interview drunk, he should be gone too for that. I mean, you can't.
I agree.
You can't have people in upper management doing things like that.
And again, that just the whole thing is just very the way Denver handled that was just terrible all the way around. I mean, on so many levels, professionalism, ethics,
for sure.
You name it, man. I mean, it just screams HR nightmare.
HR nightmare.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, John.
You're right.
Okay, listen, man. Listen, I can make a turd look like a gold brick, but I can't do this one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, my training doesn't include this.
Like you just coming in like that's just that's like blatant disrespect.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
And then, bro, okay. I tell you what, John. You came in front. Okay, maybe you had a little night in the town, whatever. But then your questions are like,
Yeah.
John,
Yeah.
John, help me. I can't do everything, man. I can't give you the subject matter to ask and be your Alcoholics Anonymous partner. What do you want me to do here?
Right. Exactly.
AA Incorporated.
Oh
my God.
Listen, man, we got AA after us. We got the NAACP after us. We got our community crimes after us. John!
Everybody.
I can make a turd look like a little brick, but I am not trained to do this.
I'll say this, even though he's the GM and all that
stuff is transpired, it should be Colin Kaepernick. He should be like, I told you so.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
I told you. Look at what they did to me. God, thank God Nike blessed that man. You know what I mean? Because just think of all the money he would have lost had he not went on that campaign. And all the people who were saying, oh, he's doing this for show. He didn't know Nike was going to give him a contract. He didn't know about the campaign. He literally took a leap out on faith. It was like, look what's going on. Not just in the NFL, in this world, in America. Look at how you get treated if your skin tone is a little bit different. And lo and behold, everybody who said it was for show, everybody who said it was for play, now you look, there are no upper management minority figures in this league. And they plan on keeping it that way. It's just bad.
Let me Greg, were you gonna say something?
No, and I was just gonna say, if me and Rob were general managers and we did what John Elway did, that would have been our last day.
Oh,
that would have been our last day, Rob.
We ain't working no more.
That would have been it for us. We know.
It is. We laugh about it, but it really is probably the truth, and that's really, like I said, that's part of the narrative that has to change, right? I mean, a lot of that just has to change. I mean, because it honestly shouldn't be that way. It just shouldn't.
That's right. It shouldn't.
I'm gonna switch scripts real quick. I'm gonna kind of go in a different direction here real quick, and we can. Unless I got anything else y'all want to talk about, I wanted to kind of bring this up. I was looking at something a minute ago, and I see where Jokic is challenging Wilt Chamberlain for the triple-double issue. It says he inched closer to Wilt Chamberlain on the career triple-doubles list, basically having multiple 25-point triple-doubles on 80% shooting in NBA history on Sunday. He had 27 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, and he shot 12 of 15 from the field in the 124-104 over the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, is it time that we know? I mean, I get it, man. Listen, I get Embiid. Okay, I get it. Guys just throwing numbers right and left. But I mean, how many stats do we look at? Do we look at just specifically the numbers, or do we look at, like, let's say what Jokic is doing, where he's having an awesome shooting experience in terms of his percentage? He's also got the points, the rebounds, and the assists. I mean, there's all these other intangibles. I mean, at what point is I guess was what Embiid doing? Is it just so much better than what Jokic is now? How do we feel about that? And Rob, I know you came to the party a little late on this one, so I'm gonna let you start it off, and then we'll go Greg and Chris. You can wrap that one up.
I mean, I think the only difference right now with Embiid and Joker is the narrative. Like, we understand that Joker right now is carrying the Denver Nuggets, but that's due to injury. We know Jamal Murray will be possibly coming back, and that team will get drastically a whole lot better. But with Joel Embiid, I think because it's such a fiasco going on right now in Philadelphia, despite the way that they lost last year, losing to Atlanta, a team that no one saw going to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then coming back this year knowing that you're not going to have Ben Simmons, knowing the fiasco with, is he going to be there? Are we going to trade him? And the fact that you're still winning it right now, number 2 in the East, it is just a better story. But you cannot take away what the Joker has been doing. Like, that dude is amazing, and he plays at such his own pace. It's almost beautiful to watch. Like, you can't speed that man up. That man is a monster. So I got love for the Joker. Um, Definitely with him and that B, they have brought greatness to that center position. I just think Embiid has a better story, but man, both of those guys are putting up insane numbers.
And I think if we're looking at the MVP, I think it really does come down to between those two guys. And honestly, I think like you said, Rob, I think you can make a case for either one. Both of them are just doing great things. Greg, how do you feel about it, man?
Man, we're talking about centers again.
Kind of
feels like the 90s or something. Yeah. Man, look what Joker's doing in Denver. He's having an awesome season. Embiid, another awesome season. They are the two best centers in basketball as of right now. I wouldn't be mad either way. Like, if Joker won MVP, I'd be like, okay, good. If Embiid won, I'd be like, okay, good. What Joker is doing without Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
Embiid does have a little bit more weapons. He has Seth, and things like that. Harris. But what Jokic is doing in Denver without Murray, I would give him the nod just slightly, just because he is kind of doing more on his own. But it's really like neck and neck, between the two. So,
before I go on to Chris and get his thought process, I wanted everybody to understand today, we are now joined by our president and CEO, Freddie Delusional Henderson.
Yeah, because he's about to say LeBron to be MVP.
I want you to understand today's show, and I don't think Freddie got the memo. I know I put out the memo, but I don't think he got the memo. Today's show was entitled A.S.A.P in the Morning, A Day Without Freddie. And somehow or another, Freddie Henderson missed that memo and decided to crash the party anyway. But that's okay. Freddie, I know you got a lot to say. I can see it. It's all written on your face. I don't know if your face is frozen and your internet is bad, or if that really is just you holding that pose. But hey, I'm going to give you a chance to speak, and you can address all of my comments. But let me get Chris's thing first, and then I'm going to let you give your whole monologue. Chris, what do you got? You heard about the story for Joker. You heard about the story for Embiid. What do you got?
They're the two best centers in the league. I think Jokic is going to get the MVP over Embiid this season, just because Jokic is putting up just as good or better numbers than he did last year when he won the MVP, and he's doing it with less. Like Greg was saying, with Murray being out, plus Porter's been out a lot of the season. He's had a lot more injuries to deal with than what Sanford or Sixers have.
I forgot all about MJP. You right about that. I mean, MPJ, Michael Porter Jr. Man, that dude is he's an up and comer. I forgot all about him. And Will Barton has been in and out of the lineup too, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, Barton. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Joker, he's amazing, man. It's like you look at him and you like, nah, he ain't scoring like that, or he ain't doing it. And then he gets out there and just performs like.
And it looks so easy. It looks so easy a lot of times. Sometimes it only look like he really is trying hard. It's just
he's definitely a down low. And the fact that
hold on, I got you. All right, folks. As I told you a minute ago, we are joined with Freddie Henderson and Freddie. What's up?
First off, I want to say I'm glad to have my brother Chris back on his feet. You're looking good, my brother. We'll have you back on to
Thank
deal
you.
with.
Yes.
So I wanted to get that out the way. But let's not forget the main thing.
Oh
Is the
Lord Jesus.
main thing who is the MVP? When I classify an MVP, it means the most valuable player to your team. And
Chris,
the
hit the mute
most
button.
No, it's in the league.
okay, you're right, Rob. You're right. I'm thank you for the correction. MVP, most valuable player to the league, something that they can't do without, a piece that they can't go without missing. And with that being said, we see that the league can do without a Kevin Durant. Nobody's crying that KD's not here. Ain't nobody crying. But when the king is missing, all hell
Hey,
breaks
Freddie,
loose. The
we weren't
world
crying when
go
that happened
crazy.
either. No,
No.
Freddie, we weren't crying when that
Right.
happened
Nope.
either.
People was
Honestly,
talking about it.
no,
People was
no, Freddie.
crying. The Lakers was a disarray. Everything.
They
LeBron
still
James
are.
was the MVP. It
I
is
was
my
saying,
fault.
did something change, Freddie? Did something happen that we don't know about?
In year 19, this man is averaging 29 points a Greg, 29 points a game,
But that's still less than what
7.8
Embiid's doing.
rebounds, 6.4 assists. Greg having his best season yet.
I
At
get it.
year
Yeah.
19. Rob, how old are you, bro?
I'm 33.
Let me ask you a question. When you wake up in the morning, do some of your bones hurt? Do you have knee problems?
Oh,
No,
my bones hurt if I sleep the wrong way.
Right. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
Greg, do
same
you
here.
wake up with body aches and stuff like
Hey,
that?
Same here,
Greg said Rob said his bones are hurting a little bit today because of what he tried to do with the wife last night, and he wasn't prepared for it.
So, with that being
He said he didn't
said,
stretch properly.
so with that being said, what LeBron James has to deal with at 37 years old in year 19, and he got to put up with Russell Westbrook. That we need him off the team. I pray every night. I say, God, please get this man away. Far, far, far away from my leg. Because this is like, I'm living in a nightmare. I'm living in a nightmare that I can't wake up from. I keep slapping myself. I say, wake up, pinch myself, wake up. And I won't wake up. Because on Saturday, y'all, I was watching the game. Literally, I had a Coke bottle in my hand, literally. And I'm watching. I just threw it. I hate to I hate to wake up. I'm scared, sad. I've never this way. But for to put up with that, he's the MVP right off the back. And I want to, Jay, before I move, I want to give a public apology real quick to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, I'm so sorry. I apologize to you. I was one of the main ones that criticized you for leaving Russell Westbrook. I understand now. I understand.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry.
Hey, Kevin Durant somewhere is like, I told y'all so.
Told y'all. That's just like when Kevin Durant leaving Russ, that was the guy that leaves like the super fine chick, and everybody, why you leave that chick fine, boy? I can't wait, boy. Once I get with her, boy, it's gonna be different. No, it ain't different. It ain't different. It's the same.
You know what though? With Westbrook never advanced his game. It's like he thought he was going to have that athleticism forever, and that is not the case.
Right.
And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I was one of the Laker fans, because I knew deep down that it wasn't a good fit. But I said, you know what? He talked to LeBron. He talked to AD. He's gonna be willing to change his game. He's gonna
lied to you.
Nah, bro.
He played me. He played me like a fiddle. So
he played everybody. He robbed the bank.
Hey, but don't worry though, Freddie. I hear the Clippers got an opening over there for a fan. So if you want to slide,
guess what, Jay? The Clippers can win 5 straight championships. Guess what? It'll never equal to 17. It'll never equal to what we've done. It'll never equal that. So I ain't never leaving Lake Show.
Hey, but I just want to tell you, Freddie, as great as LeBron has been playing, and he has been playing amazing in year 19. I didn't see that
Playing better
coming.
than the GOAT in year 19. Well, he didn't play in year
Yeah,
19.
he's playing like a man possessed, but he is not the MVP, brother. I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
The
Well,
Lakers
I
are in
agree.
like ninth
I definitely
place.
agree.
They have a losing record, regardless if you have Westbrook there or not. He's the king. He's supposed to keep things in order, and he can't even keep his body in order. Yeah, you're right. We have aches and pains, but if I had $2 million to spend on my nutrition, I'd be playing like LeBron too.
Were you playing like that a year 20 years old?
Hey, I'll tell you this. I remember a time when you didn't even have to stretch out to go play basketball. You just jumped on the court and played.
Just get up and play. Yep.
Hey, nowadays, hey, before you get on that court, give me about 10 minutes to warm up.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I mention something? Because Mike Hughes thought I was real crazy when I said this. Me and him were just talking, you know. And I said, you know what? Just hear me out. I'll tell you like I told him, listen to me before you react. 'Cause when I'm about to say first, you're gonna call me crazy. I said Anthony Davis is a better player than Giannis Antetokounmpo. I said if you look skill wise, he is. Giannis can't do what AD can do skill wise. But what makes Giannis better is that motor, is that he attacks every time. AD, he don't have that motor that makes him attack every time. Because when AD attacks,
Because AD's legs are about 2 years too old. They done.
Yeah, 40-year-old
Listen,
knees.
listen, you ever heard of osteoporosis?
yeah, but if you
He got mesothelioma.
Osteoporosis. You can't go
Yeah,
to
but if
nothing
you-
like that.
Yeah, but if you see AD's body frame, he's built like for them guys back in Kareem, Bill Russell days, like these tall, lanky dudes. Like he just got a real bad body frame. That
He got to go hit the gym. Giannis used to be little like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I
Everybody
don't think
forgets
AD's
Giannis
little.
used to be a skinny kid, and that dude went
Yeah,
in the
he was.
gym and beefed up. And I'm gonna come up with a argument for you, Freddie. It's yes, AD has better skill than Giannis, but Giannis does what he does better than what AD does. Like AD has a plethora of skills, but it's like, do you want to be a jack of all trades or a master of one? And
Well, you got
Giannis
different motors,
dominates.
bro.
He dominates the paint. He doesn't let AD can do it. We saw Saturday. Look at all the tip dunks and stuff he was getting in.
We seen it
AD
against
looked dominant.
Embiid. We seen it against Embiid in Philadelphia.
He
This dude
he
is
looked
stretch and
dominant.
going
But the
crazy.
thing is, how long can he keep that going?
That's the question. That is the question. But I think him missing 17 games was a blessing for the Lakers. It was a blessing
You
because
better hope he don't miss 17 more.
it worked his mind and it got him back engaged. Because sometimes we see players, man, that win a championship and they get comfortable. They get satisfied and they get like that bubble year. We seen AD hungry every game. We seen him say, okay. But now these last couple of years, like, okay, I got my championship, I'm good. Nah, AD, you can't do that in LA, bro. You can't do that. So the same thing we saying about Russ. Hey, you got to wake up, man, because you too good to be averaging this 22 points a game. I need you around 27, 28, 29, averaging 10, 11 rebounds, 2 or 3 blocks a game. That's who you are. That is who you are. Like AD had the skill to be the best player in the game. He has the skill. He don't have that motor. If he get that motor, man, hey, it's lights out.
Hey, but guess what? You can teach skill. You can't teach will. And I
No,
don't
you
think
can't
he
do
go
that, bro.
he I don't think he can ever get that motor because he's not built like that. Giannis understood that in order for me to make a name in this league, I'm gonna have to be more dominant than people because he understands I can't shoot the three ball on a consistent basis or hit those jumpers on a consistent basis. But I can get rebounds and make it very scary for you in the painted area. And that's what he does. He's
Yeah.
great at what he does.
Yeah, yeah, he is.
And great at getting to the rim.
Man, like no other. It's
But
like when you see Giannis get to the rim, you might as well not even jump. That's a dunk, bro.
Yep.
but I but I will tell you this. I will tell you this. If we get this AD every night in the playoffs, I better watch out. Because guess
You
what?
gotta make it to the playoffs, man.
I got word that the Lakers are trying to trade Russell Westbrook.
Ain't
You
nobody
gotta make it to the playoffs.
Freddie. Ain't nobody
Jay,
watching out for the
be
Lakers.
honest. Hey, hold on. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself.
No, I watch a
Saturday,
lot of my stuff every other
did y'all
day.
watch
but
the game
I
Saturday?
guess I'll do you one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw it.
If we can get that Laker team of the second half every night, who can beat them?
Phoenix.
The Suns.
Phoenix, the Warriors, maybe the Grizzlies.
I don't know.
Hey, we're talking about the New York Knicks. We're not talking about Golden State and Phoenix. Come on, let's keep it in perspective.
Hey, New York Knicks came out to play, man. They got something to play for.
They might even have a problem with the Mavericks.
Watch tomorrow night and Wednesday. I'm gonna come back on and ask the same question. Can we play Bucks tomorrow night? And just watch.
Well, I'll be watching that game. Don't you worry.
Well, I know you will. Oh, I know you will because you watch this. You watch your own Dallas Mavericks.
Hey, listen, I never mess up a good chance to hold Freddie accountable. Don't worry about that. We good.
I'm sorry, man. And like we mentioned earlier, them booing Russell Westbrook. Hey, it's sad, man. Like if I was Westbrook, I'd just ask to be benched for the rest of the season. Like just don't play me.
I don't get because we had people in the group chat Saturday night trying to justify this. I'm like, bro, Russell Westbrook is playing horrible. Like how?
He's playing bad.
You can't shoot 1 for 10.
You can't hoop. You can't shoot. Like you're getting open shots, dude. It's like they're not contested.
Yeah.
Like teams want you to shoot.
Yeah, the Lakers was begging him not to shoot. You just hit 1-3, and they begging it like, no, please, no.
I've never seen that. I've never seen that in the NBA. Like a team, a fan base was like, no, please, no. I've never seen that, and I was sad for Westbrook, but at the same time, I was crying in tears because I'm like, that's bad. Like you have an open corner three at that. And they're like, no. And then AD gets the ball and put it up. Yay! It was like a roller coaster of emotions in that one play. It was beautiful to watch.
We get close to about the 2-hour mark. Let's do some final thoughts here real quick. We're gonna we're gonna cover Greg and work around and let Freddie wrap it up on that one. Greg, what's your final thoughts?
Oh man, it is Super Bowl week. I do think the Rams are going to win this game on Sunday. Looking forward to it. I just need to see the Bengals lose. That's all I need. I don't need nothing else. I just need to see them lose this game.
Good old Joe.
Yeah, I need to see. So I can be like this. So I can do the Burrow. You still ain't got more rings than Pat Mahomes. Yeah.
Oh man.
So yeah.
Nobody wants to see Joey Cool be on that cigar smoking it at the end. Okay.
No.
Rob,
what you got, baby?
Man, Super Bowl weekend, man. I almost forgot that Super Bowl weekend. Yeah. I also think the Rams are going to win. They have to win, to me, in order to make this a successful season with the gamble that they took on bringing in Matthew Stafford, Odell Beckham Jr., Von Miller. Like they stacked the house, so you have to complete it with a W. And I cannot wait to watch this All-Star game next weekend. We know that the NBA is the best league when it comes to All-Star game productions. I'm excited about the All-Star game. They have a stacked roster on both sides. I can't wait to see how the captains pick everything, and we're in line for a great second half of the season in the NBA. So let's keep it going, baby.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, excited for Super Bowl week. Great to be back after being sick for a couple weeks, not being on.
Happy to see you, Chris.
Good to see you.
Thank you. And I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
Okay.
For the Super Bowl, just because I like to see Joe. I'd like to see Joe Burrow finish it off with the great runnings they've had here in the playoffs.
Smoking Joe.
I'm kind of torn on this one, right? And by the way, I'm also really looking forward to Super Bowl weekend. And but I'm torn, guys. I'm torn because Cincinnati Bengals have been in the league since 1970, and they've never won the ship. They've never won the Super Bowl. And then you get the Bengals in there. They're vying for the Super Bowl. They have a legitimate shot. They get a first-time go guy of a Joe Burrow. I mean, it's just a very nice storyline. A team that's never won it, if they win it and they win it with the first-time go quarterback, I mean, it just reeks of awesomeness.
Yeah.
Just awesomeness. Yeah. And then, but on the flip side of it, I look at L.A. and they have a great storyline too, because you take a team like Matt Stafford. Or a guy like Matt Stafford, who has been in the shadows of Detroit for so long, how do you not want to root for him to get his first Super Bowl? Because he's been in purgatory. And what a great narrative it would be on his career to say, hey, look, just imagine, I got a Super Bowl with these guys first time out. Imagine what I could have done had I been freed so much long ago. By the way, hashtag free Barry Sanders. Free that poor bastard. But no, and I just say, like, it's a great narrative on their end as well. I mean, Sean McVay, he went all in, threw all his chips in. You brought in Matt Stafford. I mean, it just their story briefs as well too. And I think, God, I'm torn. I'm not going for either one of the teams. I just want to see the greatness unfold itself, and whoever gets it, they just wanted it even that much more, or they were just that much more deserving. But I think both storylines are just phenomenal, and it's just too hard for me to be able to pick one over the other. I just can't do it. I can't.
Yeah, I think the Rams are gonna win, but man, if Smoking Joe do it, I'm sorry, Greg. I know how you feel about Cincinnati, but I've became a fan of Smoking Joe. Like, he's built a legend around himself, man. And I got to get that on a T-shirt. Him holding a cigar, getting his MJ on. You know what I mean?
Hey, by the way, do you think there's got to be somewhere out there a cigar company that says, you know what, I need to capitalize on Smoking Joe?
Well, you know what? Ike Taylor said he was. My friend Barry. You guys have probably seen him comment on a couple of things. They have a podcast called Pro Sports Fans. And man, they've been getting some top-notch people like the Gronkowski brothers. They had Joy Taylor, and then they had Ike Taylor from that Pittsburgh Steelers team.
Right.
And he has a cigar company.
Yeah, he has a cigar.
And he was like, he said, I definitely was in that inbox with Smoking Joe. Hey, so shout out to Barry and Pro Sports Fans.
Be your spokesman.
All right, yeah.
Hey. You got to get it while the getting is good, right?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, Joe Burrow, he does have swag. I hate everything that's Cincinnati. I don't like Cincinnati chili no more. I don't want to see no WKRP Cincinnati show. I don't want to see nothing. No.
Hey, Greg, I feel you. That's how I feel about the Packers.
That's when the show WKRP in Cincinnati came on, and Greg was going to PTSD moments.
I gotta change it.
Hey, I understand, boy, because here in Chicago, wearing anything green and yellow is blasphemous.
Yeah. Hey, don't worry though, because the flip side of that is in Wisconsin, they call people from Illinois fibs. And now I'm not gonna tell you what F stands for, but it's Illinois bastards.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So Wisconsin looks like as you guys is fibs, and but you know what though? But I had a house out there off of Lake Michigan and Sheboygan, and I used to rent my house out all the time during the summer months to people from Illinois all the time. I'm in Chicago a lot, so they have good deep pockets, and I appreciate them.
Hey, we gonna spend some money. We gonna spend some money.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I'm telling you, listen, I had no problems with it. I just told them, whatever you do, please just don't put a Bears or a Bulls or anything like that out there, because I do have neighbors I got to live with.
Hey, like Mike Hughes said, shout out to Mike Hughes. When people ask you where you from, we're not from Illinois. We're from Chicago.
It is.
Hey, listen, guys. On behalf of Greg, Rob, 2 Cents, and Chris Gonzalez out there running our production for the first time since he got training last night, doing a fantabulous job.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hey, on behalf of Freddie, Jay McLovin, and the rest of the morning crew, man, we thank you for joining in. Thank you for the comments, Damien. Good comments out there, and we will see you tomorrow morning.
We go.
And we will continue this conversation. Until next time.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces.